Welcome to Raise the Bar Smart Money Podcast. Your host, Juan Pablo Delgado, who is a business owner, co-founder of RTV Latinx and Financial Pro, will take you with business owners, professionals, and people who are in the hustle. Raise the Bar Smart Money Podcast es un espacio para cotorrear sobre negocios, emprendimiento, la vida misma y el billete. Bienvenidos.
My guests are Orlando and Alan, an uncle-nephew entrepreneurial team with indigenous roots from La Sierra Juarez in Oaxaca, Mexico. They founded Volumen Technologies in September of 2018 to help amplify growth opportunities for local multicultural businesses across California, the US, and Latin America. Orlando and Alan's mission is to empower local small business owners to overcome historic growth barriers and build multigenerational wealth by helping them leverage the benefits of technology, the digital economy, and entrepreneurial growth opportunities. Their vision is to catalyze multicultural entrepreneurial growth in underrepresented neighborhoods across California, the US, and Latin America, to help historically marginalized communities become a more vital creator force than a consumer force. In 2011, their families invested in their entrepreneurial dreams and opened their small business in Los Angeles neighborhoods of Mid-City LA and Rampart Village. By helping the family's small business with their operations, marketing, sales, customer service, accounting, legal permits, and more, they learned valuable lessons about growth and challenges. Orlando and Alan, welcome to the podcast. Todo es posible.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. I am Orlando.
Good afternoon. I am Alan David, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. And indeed, todo es posible. Everything is possible.
Excelente, excelente. Me encanta y estoy con una playera de Todo es Posible que se la recomiendo mucho, muy cómoda y además para poder ayudar a la comunidad. Well, I'm going to switch a little bit in English first. And I would like to ask you guys in a few minutes, tell our community a little bit about yourself, or what do you think people should know about you? I don't know if you want to start, Orlando?
Yes. So my name is Orlando. I am from Los Angeles, California. I was born and raised here. But the first 3 years of my life, I lived in a small town named Solaga in Oaxaca, in the Sierra Juarez, deep in the mountains away from the city. My parents are indigenous, so I grew up in their community the first 3 years of my life after I was born here, because they had originally came here to work for a few years and then eventually moved back to live in their town. But they left in the first place because of lack of economic opportunities, and their goal was the American dream. But as many people, they often just plan to be here temporary, but a lot of times they end up staying here and creating their whole life over here. So that's a little bit about me, and I grew up not too far from the central area of LA, a neighborhood called Mid-City. And it was there. I've been going through public education through the system, just not questioning anything, just going through it, thinking that they have my best interest. As I got older,
Right.
I started learning different concepts, started actually learning what I wanted to learn in community college, started realizing that some of the institutions that we've been going to don't have our best interest.
Mm-hmm.
They don't teach us the best. And then I thought everyone lived that way. Obviously, my community was of low resources. And it wasn't until high school where I got to see something different, because I was in a different neighborhood in West LA. So I got to see the different differences between the education that other students had. Being that some of them were from wealthier neighborhoods, so those schools have more resources,
Mm-hmm.
STEM, but also just you could tell like the disparities And most of my neighborhood was mainly Mexican American and Central Americans, and it was I thought every neighborhood was the same. There was a lot of violence and a lot of bad things happened, and it for me it was normal growing up because I thought every neighborhood was like that. But until I got older, I realized that it wasn't like that. But that only made me stronger. Those experiences made me want more, and I went to community college after working in retail for a few years. All I wanted to do was work because that's what I saw my parents do. And then when I was in community college, I had this one professor. His name was Professor Mancia, and he was in his English course that he wasn't only teaching us like college level English, but the books that he was assigned to us were empowering. They were very critical thinking based, and they made me question my reality. And that's when I realized that in order if we as immigrants want to rise up in this country, we can't just be someone's employee. We have to be able to take risks and start businesses. So it was then that I realized that there was an opportunity. And I would always, growing up, we would always have dinner with my parents. It was mandatory that we all sat at the table together. So that was cool. And that's when we were able to speak ideas and talk about our days. And I was so excited about learning, something that didn't happen when I was in public school. But in community college, I was excited about everything I was learning. And I would tell them about what I was learning and all the empowering stuff that was happening. And I told them like my idea that if we want to come up in this country, we got to own a business. And then I told them that they've worked in the dry clean industry for more than 25 years at that time. And I told them that why don't we just start our own business? Because I mean, you guys have the experience, you guys are professionals. We just don't have the business knowledge, but I know English and I can translate things and I can help you with however I can, and we can do this together as a team. And then they thought about it, and then one day an opportunity came up that there was a cleaners for sale, and they've put all their savings into it and opened it up. And then that was like in 2011, and from there it was tough. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. There was a lot of challenges, and my parents only have a fifth grade education, but nonetheless they were not scared. They were eager to get going. Nothing could stop them, and that also motivated me. And I started taking design classes, and then we got invited to workshops to learn about digital tools, Google My Business, Yelp, the importance of a website. And all these workshops were sponsored by the city for small businesses in our community. So that was good. It opened up my eyes about technology and digital tools for small businesses. And I saw myself as a business owner too, even though it was my parents. And that mindset is what empowered me because I felt that I had to help them and I felt that it was my business too. And just having that mindset just made me go look for resources and come up with new ideas to support and help my parents because it hurt me to see them sad the first few months as any business. You're the new person on the block. There's not a lot of clients. People don't trust you yet because you're new. So it was difficult, but I was trying to think of how I can help them. So I realized that technology is the way, and Google My Business definitely helped. And soon I started designing flyers, doing that marketing, and passing out flyers in the neighborhood, and it definitely helped doing the outreach. And soon we were able to see clients come in, and to this day, we still have longtime clients that have been coming for years, and we build relationships more than anything. It's not only transactional in business; you got to build relationships, and that's along those challenges with my parents, I learned a lot. But being there and seeing them have a business made me realize that one day I can have a business too. So I kept on going to school, and I eventually transferred from community college, which was LA Trade Tech. I ended up going to Ithaca College in upstate New York. And it was something different, totally different experience, different environment. But I knew that if being away from everyone and starting off fresh, and I was gonna have to learn how to fly. So when I jumped off that branch, I knew that I was either gonna fall, but on my way down, it was up to me whether I fall and hurt myself or I learned how to flap my wings on my way down. And luckily, I was able to flap my wings, and I came up, and I learned so many things, and it made me realize it was challenging, but it was a good experience. It definitely put some grit in me, and I learned communication management and design was my major, and I learned some more design, marketing. It was mainly uh, corporate communications.
Right.
At that time, um, I was thinking about making money, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go corporate, you know. But then as I was learning more about some of these corporations and the way they treat the world and the way they treat people, made me realize that I didn't want to be a tool. So then I was like, I don't think I want to go corporate. So, but that's what my major was leading to. So I was like, maybe I could use this marketing and design skills for something else. So I was like, okay, let me go to a nonprofit sector because nonprofits help, right?
Right.
So then I was like, okay, or a government agency that helps people because that's where my heart was at. My heart's always been about helping people because being around so much negativity, I want to make things better and change the world. And then, so after being rejected from so many opportunities in the nonprofit world, I realized that there's a lot of bureaucracy in there too. So at the end of the day, I don't want to be a part of that either. So I started to be a freelancer in design. And then I realized that there was an opportunity to support small business owners like my parents that are professionals and masters at the craft, but they might not have the knowledge of digital tools or of marketing or other concepts in branding. So I realized that this is an opportunity for me to help the Spanish speaking community in LA. And I started as a freelancer, and it was around that time that I reconnected with Alan, who's my business partner, but he's also my nephew. I hadn't seen him in a few years.
Oh, wow.
So at that time, when I saw him again, I learned that he was in going to school at Berkeley. So I was interested in learning what he was studying and I wanted to know more about what his interests were. And then after talking, we realized that we had a lot of things in common because he also was into business, and we realized that like we have different skill sets and talents, and together we could maybe partner up and better service the community.
Exactly.
And it was then that we started this journey. But I'll let Alan continue, and from there,
absolutely.
We'll move it up to modern day. But that's a little bit about my past. But I'll pass the mic to Alan.
Yeah, and before you do that, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. It's amazing. I really respect that and respect your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Alan, and continue the conversation.
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the most important things that I have in my life, apart from health, is family. And I grew up in what is called Koreatown. I was born in East LA, East Los Angeles, and I went to high school in Sun Valley. And nowadays I like to say that I live in Oaxaca town, or El Barrio Oaxaqueño, which is not officially recognized yet in the city of LA. But given the amount of entrepreneurs that are from Oaxaca that are opening businesses, mainly along Pico Boulevard, it's something that holds a special place in our hearts, given that whenever we want to go buy groceries, there's a place owned by Oaxaqueño. We want to eat somewhere, there's a place there owned by Oaxaqueño. There's a floreria, there's someone there.
And I love food from Oaxaca. Es deliciosa.
Yes.
La variedad es tremenda, es deliciosa.
Right, it's the gastronomy, that is a manifestation of the abundance that our ancestors inherited us.
Exactly.
Even thinking about my visit in Monte Albano, was something magical and surreal, just understanding that, not too long ago, a few centuries ago, our ancestors were there studying the stars, discovering things about nature and about the universe that nowadays, like Orlando mentioned, we have to kind of do our own educational process outside of school. So I also went to public schools in LAUSD, and I'm very grateful for all the experiences that my teachers helped me achieve. For my parents, that was something that wasn't given to them in their pueblos. My mom, as Orlando mentioned, is from La Sierra Juarez de Oaxaca, from Solaga, a beautiful pueblo that speaks a lot to the abundance that I mentioned before. And it celebrates a lot of our customs and traditions that have been carried along throughout the last 2 centuries and further beyond, I'm sure. But we have documentation of, how the pueblo was founded, and a lot of beautiful stories of, even the mysticism of our culture, and also how beautiful activities like the music just started, and it sprouted because of a lot of values such as tequio and gotzona, in which our community members and our ancestors would support each other, without an economic transaction, but it was very relationship based. Um, my dad is from Islahuaca, a pueblo right next to Las Pirámides de Teotihuacan, where
Wow.
the Mexicas inherited that land. There's a lot of
No, it's a beautiful place. I've been
yeah,
there like a lot of times, and it's wonderful.
it's magical,
It's
and
magical.
it's something that they don't know who built them, but it's something that reminds me a lot of also how entrepreneurship more like how it's known before commerce runs in our DNA, right? It comes from our culture as well, knowing that Teotihuacan and Tenochtitlan were huge marketplaces for Mesoamerica, expanding to all the way to what is now known as Honduras. And so I was born here in LA, as I mentioned before. At a young age, I visited Mexico for the first time. And I always say, though, that I was reborn there because once I experienced the beauty of my parents' villages, I knew a clear difference, right? From the city and the villages. And my heart was beating a new rhythm there. And I really identified myself more as being a native to there than identifying myself with the lifestyle in Los Angeles. And my parents migrated for better opportunities in the city of LA, as many of our community members do. They weren't given the opportunity for education. Unfortunately, during their generation, my mom and her pueblo, they didn't have a middle school, so she had to migrate away. For my dad, same thing. The educational system in Mexico up to this day really pushes forward. And now, actually, some would say, though, that they were maybe future oriented because they were doing telesecundaria, right, which is schooling based on TVs, and that's kind of what folks are doing now. Yet it was more standardized than what now it's happening for students here during these times where they have a little bit of personalization. And my parents, really internalized those reflections as to why they migrated. So me being the firstborn out of a family of three with two of my younger sisters, they gave me everything that I could have ever asked for, and not materialism things, but they gave me a loving home. They gave me all of their time. They told me all about their stories, about their parents' stories. And the most important thing is that they gave me the opportunities that they wish they had. So at a very young age, I remember that they involved me in guitar lessons, learning how to play the guitar because my dad had a dream of playing a guitar that he couldn't achieve.
Nice.
And so he gave that to me. And I fell in love with the guitar playing requinto, along with some even paisanos from Solaga, learning how to play with them, and one of my cousins as well. And then they helped me learn how to swim. They got me into swim classes, and that was something that I had to overcome, a fear that I had. And they guided me through that process too, ensuring me that I could overcome any fear, I could overcome any challenge just by knowing who I am, right? And knowing that we're here in not only like in this country, but we're here in life to achieve the highest version of ourselves. And that was something that they inculcated me at a very young age. And I think they planted that seed because a lot of what happens in this country for children of immigrants is that, we do live a huge part of our growth on our own, navigating this system, right? Like public education, like college applications, even like job interviews, things that are a new environment for us. And so in that space, I had a lot of opportunities to learn. And one of them was where my father started launching some business ventures at a very young age. He had also this understanding that, like Orlando mentioned, that the true opportunity in the United States and perhaps the true American dream isn't necessarily having a house, but it's starting businesses, creating jobs, and contributing to this economy. So that's what he tried doing at a very early age, and he started doing things as casual as going to the produce district where we actually now work out of near the arts district and buying fruits and vegetables and reselling it to family members. One of the things that he taught me by example is that one of the most important things that we can deliver to our community is quality, whether it's a product or a service. And that resonated a lot with me, so I saw it as well when he got into the jewelry business and started selling jewelry and made sure that he was able to provide the best quality. One of the things that a lot of folks in our community requested was gold. And just yesterday, I was listening to Arturo Elias Ayub from Shark Tank Mexico, and he was saying that his father taught him that you will never struggle to sell when you buy well. And that's what I saw my dad, do. He created a good partnership with somebody who was very experienced in the industry and was able to buy well and always sold well. And I never saw him struggle there. Until the financial crisis, right, came. And what he did for others, though, was be able to give them an asset that they could then sell and go get along through the crisis. So I saw that as well, but I reflected on that a little later on as I understood more about the economy and even just how some of our folks did that. He also did a business venture with my uncle, who may rest in peace, my tío Alejandro. And they started a shoe business, and not just any shoes, right? He wouldn't sell any low quality shoes. He invested in leather and went to El Selecto Mall, which is, a very diverse place as well for La Comunidad Centroamericana, right, from Central America. And it's not an area in which you would expect to buy leather shoes for some reason. I would work with him and I would see the difference in quality products. So given some challenges, I knew that it would be hard for the business to thrive, and eventually it didn't, right? They had to close it down. But one thing that I know that my dad learned throughout the years was the experience, right, of opening a business.
Exactly. That's paramount.
That's the step towards success, right? You can't skip that.
Exactly.
You're gonna fail along the way. One thing that he inspired me so much in doing was to just start my own business ventures. So I would tell my mom that I need more pencils than usual. It's gonna be a busy school year in 5th grade.
I love it.
I was in 5th grade, and so she did. She bought me some pencils. I then started putting in the fridge some cold waters. I would drink 1 cold water a day, but this time I started putting 3. And so what ended up happening is that I didn't know it at the time, but I was really well with doing market research. And so what I started understanding is that every time that I would go to school, the school bell rings at 8, and I would go there at 7 to play soccer. And what I started realizing is that a lot of folks would get really sweaty. They would complain about the school water, right? And so I said, this is a business opportunity. Nice. I'll bring some cold waters and sell them here. And one of the interesting things is that I lived right across from my elementary. So it wasn't a heavy lift for me. So even that was a line for me. And I did start selling at $1 a bottle. And my friends, more than being kind of bothered that their friend was trying to sell them something, they were happy that I had solved their problem.
Right.
So those same friends, for some reason, we would get to 5th grade class, and for some reason they wouldn't get prepared, and our teacher at that time would get really mad for not having a sharpened pencil. And so there I go, seeing another business opportunity. So I started selling those pencils right before. So I think one of the variables that now I understand around this pyramid around time, quality, and price is that I would sell them right before they would get in trouble, let's say. And so urgency there,
timing is
pay any price.
Sometimes timing is everything. So guys, tell me about your business. Tell me what's behind Todo es Posible, about Volumen Digital.
So within that journey, I realized that, the reason why my father's business failed is because it was in an area that is denominated as, it has a bad reputation, right? MacArthur Park, Lafayette, at least it did historically. And so what we realized there is that, a lot of businesses don't have the resources to invest in their marketing. And so how will community members from other neighborhoods, like in other in other zip codes that have a higher income bracket, how would they know that there's quality in other places? How would they value it? The reality is that they won't travel, to the east side or to the south side to buy quality products. And so ultimately for me in 11th grade, I joined the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship and learned about business plans. And so I wrote the first business plan for a marketing company in which I would be able to leverage my knowledge and that knowledge of younger generations and other folks that are more familiar with technology, and we can service small business owners. So I started that dream in 2013, and I had forgotten a little bit about it, and something in 2016 awoken again that dream. And after a few months, like Orlando mentioned, we reconnected. And at Berkeley, I learned a lot about startups, something that I didn't know. And I started thinking about how we could put together a vision for something bigger than just a regular marketing agency. So Volumen Digital became a series, became as a result of a series of pivots, as it's known in startups. We pivoted a lot. We started as Volumen Marketing, then we pivoted to Volumen Team. And then after visiting Mexico for a program named Posible, we understood that we had a big venture idea because what we experienced here in California was happening in Mexico and Latin America for small businesses and small businesses. And so with Volumen Digital, we nowadays offer our services as a growth agency, leveraging what startups have done in Silicon Valley around growth hacking. One of the best cases like PayPal, early on when you would sign up, both the people would get some credit, right? $5, $10, and everyone does that now. Another case is Hotmail, when folks said, made with a free account on Hotmail, it became a growth hack. So we understood that we had to leverage these concepts like design thinking and human-centered design and growth marketing to be able to support our small businesses in the digital economy. So we started Volumen Digital for that purpose, to be able to leverage the tech industry, which is hugely underrepresented for our communities and people of color. And we're able to service small businesses with these advanced tools and technologies that help leverage the advancements of technology like automation, and email marketing and customer relationship managers, and of course advertising, and being able to provide a better experience for their customers, given that, like Orlando mentioned, business owners in our communities give some of the best service that you can find because they truly treat each other like family. And, they have like this superpower to remember everybody's name or remember things about people.
Right.
And that's what technology does nowadays. And so we understand that there's a gap, partly magnified by the digital divide. But being able to provide services that are culturally relevant, we get to talk with our customers that predominantly are Latin American and African American women, which is also a huge blessing because we see the impact that at a national level, those two communities are doing and helping start the most amount of small businesses.
And they are growing.
That's what it is.
Exactly. So, and they're eager to growth and learn more and do more.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, wow. I love your story, guys. And Orlando, so what are some of the struggles that you had and some of the lessons you learned doing your startup, your business?
Yeah, there's been a lot, but to be honest, we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. We just had this idea to support small businesses. How? I don't know. We have skills and talents, but we figured it out. We signed up for it was a business plan course. I think it was like 4 weeks at Vermont's Lawson Economic Development Center. It's a nonprofit and they offer courses. And it was there that it solidified our plan. It gave us a plan actually on how we're gonna go about and executing our ideas. And it was there that we realized and we were able to foresee some of the challenges that were gonna happen. So the business plan definitely opened up our eyes. We were able to crunch numbers and realize what it's gonna take to be sustainable. What marketing challenges or what budgets are we gonna have to work with to make this happen? So we were able to foresee some of those challenges, but more than anything, every day we're learning. Every day is a new challenge, and we welcome it. We're not scared. We now know that there's a solution for everything. So with that kind of mindset, we know that we can figure it out, and we know that it's part of our learning experience, and it's only gonna make us develop us as the leaders that we want to be to better serve our small business community. But among those challenges, the ones that stand out to me that we've that have been pricing. Just offering. We want to offer so much value, but at the same time, we used to at times as business owners or when you have a big heart, you kind of feel bad that like it might not be affordable to some people. So you kind of like price down and offer something, but then it's not sustainable for you. And then it's like, how am I going to make a living? So at the same time, we had to learn how to value our time and how to value our skills and talents. And that was something that we had to learn with different advisors and mentors. And we've been blessed to be connected and introduced and have this kind of support through the different organizations where we have participated in. So another challenge that has has just been like operations and systems. We were just doing things one day at a time. We didn't have a system to automate some processes or to save some time or become more efficient. So once we realized that we needed systems, then it was like, wow, this is a no-brainer. We should have done this from the beginning.
Right.
But it was just something that we didn't see. We were focused so much on something else. But in business, you're managing 100 things at the same time.
Exactly.
So if you lose sight of one thing, then I mean, you get that effect in a negative way. So we realized that like time was slipping through our hands, processes weren't being efficient. So once we realized that systems was very important, then we optimized. And other than that, it's time management. It's been another challenge. There's always room for improvement, and that's something that we work and strive towards to improve in every aspect of business.
Well, no. Thank you for sharing that. And I don't know if you want to add something, or let me ask you. We heard a lot about financial success. A lot of people want to be an entrepreneur and to be in this financial position, building wealth. So, what's your thoughts about financial independence?
Sure. When my father and my uncle opened their dry cleaners business as that maximum opportunity that they achieved as well in 2011, I understood that in order to be financially independent, first you had to go through a few years of investment, right? And not only financial investment, but spiritual investment, time investment. It requires of a lot to achieve that independence. And we're still on the pathway to it. But as we advance more and more into the business throughout the years, I understand how there's a lot of systems that our community doesn't fully leverage. For instance, credit or loans, and sometimes it's because it's not as accessible. Right, access to capital is a huge contributing factor to the opportunity gap for Latin American entrepreneurs, which is an order of $1.5 trillion. For me, what I understand my thesis to be for financial independence is that when I get to achieve that is because I have impacted the lives of thousands of people, and that it'll only be a small fraction of return on investment for the intentionality and for the hard work, and hard work spelled as heart, HEART, that I invested in my community, because growing up I saw a lot of the gaps of opportunities. Along the process, I've also been able to leverage credit. Early on, my parents gave me that opportunity to understand that I needed a credit card. I've been able to, fortunately, be blessed with the awareness that I had to do well in high school so that I could get scholarships for college. And I think that's something that oftentimes isn't told to the youth, that they may not think of college, or they might not think too much of middle school or high school, but investing that time is a step towards financial independence, because in your way, if you're considering college, you don't want to apply for it. And if you do get, let's say, federal aid, well, if you get a full scholarship, you're going to get money on top of that. So it's a financial investment. And early on, we're not being taught that. But I'm happy to say.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And that's super important. Yeah. Please continue.
Just happy to say that today we learned that in a program, right, from VSEDC, the center that we started they're teaching youth about cryptocurrency. They're teaching youth about real estate investment. This is youth that are in elementary and middle school. And so that's the right way forward for financial independence in our communities, learning these concepts at an early age.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you, and thank you for bringing that up and sharing that with us. And what about you, Orlando? What are your thoughts about financial independence?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I've explored this concept a lot, and as to go, I mean, for me, I'm not a materialistic person. but I know that with money I can do so much good. I could change people's lives with it, and that's most important for me, to change people's lives and improve my community. As I mentioned earlier, my community was low income when I was growing up, and
Right.
I want to be able to see a difference. I mean, it's a little better now. My parents still live there. I mean, it's definitely gotten better, but there's so much more to do, and I want to be able to change communities that are like that or worse, because the kids that are living there right now are gonna grow up with so much traumas and challenges that it's gonna affect the next generations. But if we could do something about it now, then we could like
Yeah, you agree with me that money is not good or bad? It's just a tool.
it's a tool. Yes,
Exactly, to
it's a
accomplish
tool.
something. But sometimes in our backgrounds, in like our mentality, is like money is bad.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the mindset that I used to have when I was younger, when I was
Exactly.
rebellious. I was doing the negative aspect of money. You often hear about having too much money and the negative effects that it can have on people. And but now that just learning more, I realize that it is a tool, and that's how I want to be able to use it. But
I love
I think in schools they definitely need to be teaching more about finances. There's not enough. I mean, and that's why when people come out from high school, like they get in debt, or they just don't know how to efficiently navigate the credit system
it.
or the financial system. And I mean, I think it's not knowing that is very critical, especially in low income communities. I think that's where it should definitely be.
Right.
There should be an emphasis on that. And just a few months ago, I met someone that I connected with. He's learning so he could be an investor one day. Anyway, him and his dad manage a business, and we're just getting to know each other. So we're learning. I was learning that he was from LA too, but he grew up on Santa Monica, on that side of town, and he went to the public schools on Santa Monica. And then and then he was asking me where I went to school and what neighborhood I grew up in. And then yeah, we were just exchanging ideas, and then from there, I was giving him a little bit of my experience in public school, and then he got to tell me about his experience in public school. And then as he was telling me, he said that in fifth grade, they were already learning about like how the stock exchange was working, and they had projects regarding investments and
Nice.
buying property, and they had these scenarios in elementary school, and it kind of like I felt it kind of like broke my heart that there's like a lot of kids like me that didn't have that experience but could have benefited so much, and it hurt me more that like this is still not happening in LAUSD or in low income communities. So
Yeah.
it just made me realize that there's so much more to do.
Well, but it's never late, and you're still so young. And but yeah, I mean, we have to start the conversation about money, definitely.
Early. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
And before we switch to a little Espanol, and I would like to ask you, what's the best way for the community to get in touch with you or your business?
Yeah, one of the best ways to get in touch with us is sending us a text message. We're very accessible, and it's the easiest way to reach us. Our cell phone number is 213-262-8887. You can also learn more about us on Instagram as Volumen Digital. And you could, of course, visit our website at volumendigital.com. And soon you're going to start seeing a lot more of our content on another page that is named Amplifica tu Voz, which is a community initiative that we started a year ago as a call to action to ourselves to amplify our voice, to be more present in our communities as advocates and within the small business ecosystem.
Nice, nice, I love it. Gracias, muchachos. Ahora vamos a cambiar y hablar un poquito en español, y quería preguntarles, Orlando, Alan, ¿qué legado les gustaría dejar?
Más que nada, así como dice la playera, todo es posible. Inspirar a los jóvenes y a toda la gente que no se limiten, que hay mucha abundancia en este mundo. Y ahora sí que la mentalidad y una mentalidad creadora también, que no solo somos consumidores, sino que tenemos mucho talento, tenemos muchas habilidades, y nuestra mentalidad, si pensamos y nos miramos como creadores, podemos crear lo que queramos, lo que nuestros antepasados habían soñado. Así es que ese tipo de legado es lo que quiero dejar, de que inspirar a los jóvenes y ahora sí que crear, innovar y ahora sí todo lo que nos imaginemos sin límites, porque todo es posible.
Me encanta. ¿Y tú, Alan?
Muy similar, es que ha sido en base de reflexiones, una serie de reflexiones que Orlando y yo hemos tenido en los últimos 4 años. Y de hecho hemos notado que hay mucho paralelismo en nuestras vidas y en nuestros pensamientos. A veces ha pasado mucho en el último mes, llegamos a la misma hora a la oficina sin comunicarnos. Entonces, igual, lo mismo.
Está en la misma frecuencia.
Sí, exacto. Sin embargo,
Genial.
yo sí diría que el legado que a mí me gustaría dejar es que por mi propio ejemplo, yo viví de acuerdo a las usos y costumbres de mis ancestros. Yo no como carne, como carne muy tradicional, como mis ancestros, como la barbacoa de borrego. Yo me baso en plantas y frutas como mis ancestros. Disfruto de todo lo que ellos nos heredaron. Raro es que yo disfrute algo muy moderno como la música que hoy en día sale, porque me gusta más la música de viento, me gusta más la música de flauta como mis ancestros. Y en base en esa innovación ancestral le compartí una reflexión a Orlando. Imagínate qué estaban pensando nuestros ancestros de 1400. Y entonces yo creo que la juventud hoy en día, si le damos la oportunidad que tienen esas raíces indígenas a innovar, y no solo en Estados Unidos, sino todo el continente americano, ellos van a poder manifestar esas innovaciones que están aún por construirse. Y algo que yo me di cuenta el año pasado en relación al dinero es que creo yo tener el potencial junto a personas como ustedes dos en crear un fondo de $300 billones para invertir en la innovación ancestral en base de esa innovación y esa cultura que hoy en día no se celebra. Yo visualicé eventos tan grandes como la Copa Mundial, pero en vez en celebrar las tradiciones indígenas de todo el mundo y ahí crear una nueva realidad para todas las personas, todos los niños y niñas de raíces indígenas para sentirse realmente que este mundo sí es de ellos, porque lo es y es de todos.
Wow, eso sí está increíble, esa idea está fenomenal, me encanta. Alan, Orlando, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí, muchísimas gracias por participar, por platicarnos un poquito de ustedes, de su negocio. Keep raising the bar, sigan adelante. Y recuerden que todo es posible, así que muchas gracias por haber estado en el podcast el día de hoy conmigo.
Gracias por invitarnos y gracias por compartir tu espacio y tu plataforma con nosotros y ahora sí que amplificar nuestra voz.
Sí, un agradecimiento de todo corazón a ti y a la audiencia por prestarnos este tiempo y espacio para reflexionar y seguir hablando nuestros sueños, para hablarlo en la existencia para que se hagan realidad. Y los invitamos a que se conecten con nosotros para poder ayudarles a crecer su negocio en la economía digital y poder aprovechar de toda la herramienta digital que existe, que para ustedes puede ser un gran impulso, especialmente durante este tiempo, donde las ventas en línea han incrementado por más de 3 veces. Y lo más interesante es que la población mayor de 65 años también ha incrementado. Entonces estos hábitos nuevos en el consumo electrónico no van a desaparecer. Nosotros queremos ayudarles a actualizarse y más que eso, avanzar y hacer lo que dice esta empresa, Raise the Bar. Nosotros tenemos el potencial de crear mucho mayor empleo y mucho mayor negocio y impacto económico en este país. Y por supuesto, todo es posible.
Fenomenal. Muchas gracias, muchachos. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed and learned from this podcast interview. Keep raising the bar with belief, action, and results. If you're looking for more valuable content, please visit our YouTube channel, Raise the Bar. Hasta pronto.